Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article. It's from the Charlotte Observer. It was published on February 8th. It's written by T.O. Armas. Now, it's funny. They literally put this clip from Sean Gallagher, or Sean Gallagher, who's from the Atlanta field office. He's actually the director of it for ICE. Now, he says some things here, and then they literally report this fake news bullshit that ICE was supposedly stopping people acting like cops and shit. And they're like, no, we weren't. So I wanted to show the video first, and then we'll get into the article.
In fiscal year 2018, the Atlanta field office across the three-state area made 15,000 arrests. Of those 15,000 arrests, 91% of those arrested were either criminally convicted or charged with a crime.
Okay, so you hear that? 91% of these people, criminals. Oh, but they're just innocent people here looking for a better life.
Which, you can see that if this was indiscriminate arrests conducted by my officers, that you wouldn't see such a high rate of criminality in the people that we arrest.
Oh, well, unless they're really that bad at criminals, a particular group that's getting arrested. But yeah, so he's backing up the fact that they're specifically targeting people with facts like this.
It also shows that we conduct this specific targeted enforcement, going after specific individuals at specific places. Again, the roadblock claims, stopping people because their headlights are broken, that's just something that ICE doesn't do. And if you take a look at the statistics, that will support the fact that we do targeted enforcement.
Right. See, they're trying to push this narrative. You've got Teo. Hey, Teo, you got busted by your own fucking article essay. Jesus Christ. I would just say, we had a lot of individuals that are arrested this week, 200 plus. But on an average week across my area of operational responsibility, there's about 50 at-large arrests that are made on a weekly basis. I think the uptick that you've seen is, again, a direct result of some of the dangerous policies that some of our county sheriffs have put into place, and it really forces my officers to go out on the street to conduct more enforcement operations out in the community, at courthouses, at residences, doing traffic stops. This is a direct correlation between the sheriff's dangerous policies of not cooperating with ICE and the fact that we have to still continue to execute our important law enforcement mission. We don't want to be out doing this at-large enforcement. It's much more dangerous for my staff, for the general public, and those who are being arrested. I'd rather have my officers take custody of a criminal in the safe confines of a county jail. Right, exactly. See, this is on the sheriffs. See, they're trying to portray this as the big bad, ICE. Oh, they're evil. They're going after innocent people. These are people that the sheriffs fucking revolving doored, that should have had ICE called on them, that should have been deported. I mean, come on.
But we have jurisdictions within the state that refuse to allow ICE access to those jails. And that is has a direct impact on public safety.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let's get into the article here. After North Carolina's largest counties cut ties with immigration and customs enforcement, the agency said it has been forced to adopt a new normal, one that resulted in the arrests of hundreds of immigrants living here illegally this week.
to adopt a new normal. This should be the normal. This is how it used to be. For fuck's sake, back in the day, in areas where there were high numbers of illegals, immigration used to go in and fucking arrest people on a regular basis. This should not be a new normal. This should be the normal. It used to be the norm. Come on now. And the only reason why they have to do this is because these counties decided, or I should say their sheriff decided, to say, fuck the law. I'm not going to enforce it, even though I was elected to do so. I mean, the idea is a sheriff is there to enforce the law that the people have voted for, or have had their voted for the representatives that have enacted or passed. It's not there to selectively say, you know what? Fuck immigration law. You're all welcome in my county. Not when you have 91% of the people being arrested are criminals. Like, just, that should have been deported at this point. Because they have criminal fucking records. They shouldn't be in the United States right now. You know, they should have already been gone. I mean, come on now. This is the direct conclusion of dangerous policies of not cooperating with ICE, said Sean Gallagher, who oversees the agency's operation in the Carolinas and Georgia. This forces my officers to go out into the street to conduct more enforcement. Since December, newly elected sheriffs in the state's two most populous counties, Mecklenburg and Wake, have reversed a policy that notifies ICE about the legal status of inmates in county jails. I don't know how the fucking North Carolina they could think this was perfectly fine to vote these shit bricks in. Honestly. The Durham County Sheriff's Office also ended the practice of honoring ICE detainers. What gets me is these people, when it comes to illegals, this should be, it should be against the law for these law enforcement agencies to say, fuck you. We're not going to get, honor this shit. We're not going to do what you want us to do when it comes to illegals. I'm sorry, but it really shouldn't be that way. They shouldn't be able to do that. It should be against the law. They should be charged. If a sheriff doesn't want to comply, they should be charged. It should really be that simple. These changes, Gallagher said, have given the agency no choice but to conduct targeted enforcement across the state this week. This is politics over public safety at its worst. No, it's not. This is not politics over public safety at its worst. Unless you're talking from the note of the Democrats. But if you try to say it on the note of going out and getting these people, no, 91% of them are criminals. But if you're talking about the Democrats shielding these people, yeah, you better well believe it's politics over public safety. From Monday through Thursday, ICE officers detained 200 individuals in North Carolina alone, not counting another 25 who were arrested in an unrelated raid on an arms manufacturing plant in Sanford. You got illegals building guns in the you would think a federally regulated industry like the firearms industry wouldn't have someone risking hiring fucking illegals. Oh my God. You would think that they wouldn't do that. So there's been 225 people arrested. I mean, 25 are unrelated, but to me, I'll keep the tally together. I mean, that's funny. Now, 200 individuals in North Carolina alone, 91% of them have criminal records. Do the math. That's 182 people out of 200. We're criminals. Yet they're just sweet little innocent people here to get a better life. Uh-huh. Sheriffs in, I'm going to butcher this, Mecklenburg, Wake, and Durham counties, all of whom emphasized severing ties with ICE in their campaign platforms last year, defended this shift, rejecting the notion that it had made their jurisdictions more dangerous. So either they're already very dangerous because you get all these illegal criminals, or they're just in freaking denial because 182 people out of 200 being criminals says a lot. Really does. An immigrant rights group blasted ICE for stoking fear and using the decisions of local law enforcement to justify heightened ICE enforcement. Of course they would. An immigrants rights group. What's this immigrants rights group? Is it like La Raza or some shit? Stoking fear. Oh, you mean stating fact. 91% of these people are criminals. How the hell can you be an immigrants rights group when they are here illegally, which makes them criminals to begin with, but they are criminals on the note of other laws they've broken in the United States? How can you act like this? Wouldn't you want people to immigrate here and be safe, or immigrate here and not be criminals and do so legally? I mean, just to me, that would make sense. Across the state, the arrests, many of which took place at traffic stops by officers in vests that read police, left immigrant communities paralyzed, they said. Oh my God. They literally debunked this shit. They're not pulling over people. They're not doing traffic stops. This is targeted at specific people, at specific places, say, employing them. You know, things like that. This isn't like they're just stopping people for a taillight that's busted, or because they're a pediddle. You put the video in this, Teo, that where they say they're not doing that, but yet you're still trying to push that narrative. Come on now. And this left the immigrant communities paralyzed? So you mean they're here illegally and they're no longer just strutting their stuff all cocky as all hell because they're afraid they might get arrested and deported? Good. If you're here illegally, you should be living in fear of getting deported. You seriously should. You shouldn't get to strut around this country like you own the fucking place when you're not even a guest. They should be paralyzed with fear. They should be freaking out because they're not supposed to be here. This is not new, said Viridana Martinez, an organizer with the Alerta Migratoria NC, an activist group in Raleigh. It is just the first time since the sheriffs have drawn the line in the sand. To me, this is clearly in retaliation. No, this is a response to the sheriffs not doing their job and enforcing laws. This is in response to the sheriffs doing revolving doors at the county jails and kicking criminals who aren't even supposed to be in this country in the first place back out on the street. Let's get things straight. Verdana Martinez. Alerta Migratoria. Yeah, we know what you're looking at and what side you're on. You're not about this country. You're about bringing people across the border. You're like Jim Brewer's party in his stomach, bringing in tequila. You know, one tequila brings in 20 of his friends. That's what you want. Nearly 1/3 of those taken into custody by ICE this week are what the agency calls collateral arrests. Immigrants who are living here illegally but lacked any kind of criminal conviction or pending charges. What are you talking about? Oh my God, this is fake news. He just literally said 91% of the people they arrested are criminals. That would mean 9%, not nearly 1/3, not nearly a tenth, are what the agency calls collateral arrests. Okay, 9% of them are collateral arrests, not 1/3. This is why I played the video, because this article is full of shit. Teo, you are a lying sack of shit. You are why the legacy media is called fake news. You and people like you are the reason why you guys are financially hurting, okay? It's because of people like you. It's not because of people like me. It's not because of the general public. It's because you report bullshit. You make up stuff. You pull it out of your ass. You completely lie like this nearly 1/3 crap. 91% of them were criminals. That means 9% weren't, which means that 9% were the collateral arrests. You dishonest, sleazy shitbag. Oh my God. That figure was less than 10% of those arrested in the most recent fiscal year. Gallagher, the ICE official director, said, more of these individuals are likely to be taken into custody when ICE is restricted from accessing county jails. They all should be. If they're not here legally, they should be getting on a plane to get the fuck out. No offense. But you should jump through the hoops and earn your way into this country. Not just show up like you're fucking entitled and expect people to just cater to your ass. If they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, my officer will take an enforcement action, he said. They should if they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time. They're in the wrong place, period. They're not even supposed to be in this country. As the news conference took place inside our Department of Homeland Security office in South Charlotte, City Council member Braxton Winston was threatened with arrest for trying to enter the building without media credentials, he said. He was going to spurg out, create a scene, take advantage of the situation. Speaking to reporters and activists outside the office, Winston said he was told by Robert Alfieri, an ICE official, that the arrests represent a new normal because Mecklenburg County's new sheriff, Gary McFadden, is not cooperating with federal immigration enforcement. Oh, so literally you've got this supposed, this ICE official, Robert Alfieri, supposedly saying new normal, and that's where they get it for this, for the story they put up at top, and they make it sound like, yeah, it was said by someone else in a different situation. Good to know. Under the controversial 287G program, local deputies check a federal database to see if any inmates are in the country illegally. This should be done anyways. I mean, they do NCIC checks on American citizens. This should be part of the NCIC. They do the NCIC. It should pop up that they're illegal. They should get held and they should get deported, because it's okay to do an NCIC check on me or any other American, but you can't, you can't check the status of a fucking illegal. Excuse me? Get bent if you think that that's perfectly acceptable, that you can just say, oh, we shouldn't do that to illegals. But, they can do an NCIC on an American. It's basically the same thing. If they are, inmates are held until ICE can detain them and begin deportation proceedings. About 1,200 individuals were detained through the program in Mecklenburg County last year. Okay, that sounds like a good thing to me. 1,200 people here illegally getting detained and then told, you're not special. Sorry, but you got to go home. You can't stay here. To me, that sounds like a good thing. McFadden and Wake County Sheriff Gerald Baker each defended their decisions to terminate the program, noting that inmates are released from county jail based on court orders or bail set by the courts. Yeah, and if they're illegal, that's not related to that. That's a complete and separate situation involving the federal government. Just because a county judge ordered bail or released someone does not mean that they are absolved of their federal obligations on the note of their criminality. It doesn't work like that. To suggest that dangerous people are suddenly walking out of jail because of the termination of a 287G policy is engaging in cynical fear-mongering, McFadden said in a statement. Oh, really? 91% of the people they arrested 181 of the 200 were criminals. Sounds to me like there could be a danger with that. Just common sense there. How the hell did this guy become sheriff when he doesn't have the common sense that God gave the common dog? And Baker, you know what? You're a reporter. You never start sentences with and, but, or anything like that. And Baker, whose campaign platform included promises to end the program, said in a statement that his office has no role in immigration enforcement. No, but they have a role in enforcing law. It's the law. They should be enforcing it. This isn't immigration enforcement. This is law enforcement. There are laws on the books regarding immigration. They should be enforcing these laws. It's that simple. Wake County began participating in 287G in 2007 under Republican Sheriff Donnie Harrison. Last fall, the Sheriff's Office said that 10,883 people were processed through the program in Wake between 2013 and 2017. Of them, 1,483 were deported, according to the office. Well, of course, because you're talking prime Obama time. Threw a good chunk of that. Of course, it was catch and fucking release. It was revolving door bullshit. There were just 1,483 of them that were just so bad that they couldn't revolving door them. Harrison, who lost his seat in November to Baker, a Democrat, said participating in the program helped deputies identify suspects who provided aliases. Oh, well, no shit. So you have people giving false ID, and this helped them in regards to that. Sounds to me like it was a positive. Felicia Aragata, an Appalachian State University professor who has studied 287G, said that this week's arrest represents a shift in how ICE conducts enforcement locally. Well, they've kind of been forced into having to do it themselves and go in there and get these people because the sheriffs are fucking dipshits who ran them like, oh, well, I'll let criminals revolve out of the county jail. Well, similar kinds of wide-scale arrests have occurred in February for several years. Aragara, I'm butchering that, said that ICE is no longer able to rely on county jails and must instead depend on other partnerships with local law enforcement. Yeah, they should get the local cops involved too, because if the sheriffs don't want to do this shit, get the townies involved. To me, that makes sense. At least a handful of arrests occurred in Alamance County, which has not participated in 287G in several years, but where the county jail contracts with ICE to house immigrant detainees. So they don't participate, but they let them. Wow. So they're willing to take the money from ICE for housing these guys, but they want a revolving door them otherwise. Okay. In Durham County, Sheriff Clarence Burkhead stands by his decision to end the practice of honoring ICE detainers, his office said. Why? These people are criminals. They should be detained and then deported. It's the law. Holy shit, enforce the law, you dumb shit. You're a sheriff. You care more about people who are here illegally breaking the fucking law than you do your own goddamn constituents. Holy shit. That's vile. That truly is vile. It is unfortunate that ICE is now becoming more active in North Carolina, specifically in Durham, Burkhead said in a statement. The recent actions of ICE agents are making persons in our community afraid of law enforcement. Translation. The illegals who never go to law enforcement in the first place are now even more afraid of law enforcement. Okay. You don't realize that, do you? That the illegals are afraid of dealing with law enforcement because they don't trust you. Illegals are some of the worst exploited by their own people because they know they won't go to the cops. But yet you think this scares people of law enforcement? Are now afraid of law enforcement? No, they were already afraid. They're just now afraid that they might get deported. They already were afraid of that, actually. Never mind. So that shouldn't be an issue. Anyway, Of the 200 individuals arrested this week, 1/4 have criminal convictions, 1/5 have pending cases, and another 1/4 have evaded deportation orders. So we have 50% of them, 25 have criminal records, 25 have evaded deportation orders, and 1/5 have pending cases. That still doesn't add up, because there was 91% of them were criminals. That's not 91%. Holy shit. He literally says 91% in his video, in the press conference, were criminals. 181 of the 200. And you at the end are still trying to lie. Wow. This is a good example of why people look at the legacy media and say, you guys are fake fucking news. Teo, you're a sleazy, scummy, shifty, vile person trying to push this shit when you literally have a video of the individual in charge of ICE in this area saying we busted 200 people and 91% of them are criminals. 91%. I can't cover this any better than I have. I think I've proven my point. So I'm just going to leave things here.
If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.